Hello, and thank you all for joining me here on Hessens County for another TTRPG Talk. This video series takes a look at tabletop role-playing games and related materials, makes suggestions for some of your own games, and takes a look at some of my own materials. Today, we're going to be doing a whistle-stop tour of the TTRPG Animal Bundle that is live on itch.io right now for the next, as of recording, 18 days. Probably by the time you'll see this, it'll be like 17, 16, something like that. But you still got roughly 2 weeks to check this out. It has 65 games with only $20. Full disclosure, I do actually have a game in this bundle called Carcanauts, which you can see right here. However, I will not be talking about Carcanauts today, although I probably should make a video about it at some point. Instead, we are going to be taking a look at some other games that are featured in the bundle, which, by the way, was organized by they are typically known on the internet as Kumada One or Sprinting Owl of Sprinting Owl Games. They organize a number of these bundles like every couple of months or so. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first game we're going to be taking a look at today is Throne Rats. Throne Rats is a one-page game that we'll take a look at the actual physical game here in just a second, but they describe it as essentially being Game of Thrones meets the Root RPG. I would describe it as being kind of like Redwall, but much less cheerful. Essentially, you, the characters, play anthropomorphic animals as you attempt to survive in a medieval, gritty, violent set of lands. Basically, you're fighting against usurpers, trying to take the throne, all that kind of stuff you might expect in a sort of Games of Thrones inspired game, which the creator of this, Mark Strox, says that this game was inspired by Maze Rats by Questing Beast Games, and basically is their own take. Obviously, the Root RPG, as I mentioned, inspired the world, along with Games of Thrones, Mouse Guard, and a couple of other things thrown in as well. I suspect also there might be some influences here from Mosrita or some other things like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the game system. Now, I want everyone to keep in mind as we kind of go into this, I have not actually looked very extensively at the systems before we jump into them. These are fresh. This is not only going to be sort of like a bit of a review of these games, this is also going to be like a first reactions, I guess you could call video, because all I've done is like download, open it, taking a basic little look just to see like if it's doable for me to do it in the video, and that's about it. So here we go. Alrighty, so here we have with Throne Rats. So as we can see here, it says here, each royal family lusts for power, land, and extravagance, but ours was the worst. Now the king is dead. There is no greater equalizer than a blade slipped between the ribs. So we have 4 stats. We have charm, cunning. Charm is kind of obvious. Cunning, again, kind of obvious. Might, physical stuff, right? Makes sense. Finesse for dexterity. Okay, so standard 4 stats. That makes sense. So we have our social stat, our smarty stat, our muscle stat, and our dodgy stat. Right, makes sense. You roll a d20. Okay. Oh, okay. So here we go. Here's the good thing. This is a roll under system. I love roll under systems. It makes math so much easier. So it says, if you roll equal or under your stat, you succeed. If not, there is trouble. The greater the difference, the worse the situation gets. Presumably also the opposite direction. You might even take -1 health. Anytime your speciality can help in an action, say how it does. If the World Master... Okay, that's an interesting way to put it. If the World Master agrees, roll a second d20 and then take the lower of the 2. Oh, okay. So anytime you have speciality, it gives you advantage. We have 20 different species to choose from. Presumably, the way this is kind of set up, you get different specialities depending upon the basically the genus or the sort of like type of animal that you are. So we have some here for amphibians, some here for avians, birds, and a bunch here for mammals. Oh, and you also get, so you get a thing that you can use to help you, and you get +1 to one of your stats. So for example, if I am, let's say, an eagle, right? And I decide to take, oh wait, do I get all of these special? No, I get to pick a speciality. Let's say I pick presence, right? Maybe I'm a very charming eagle. Then I get +1 charm, and also presumably I can use my presence to do stuff. Once we have picked out what our species and speciality is, we move on and pick a background and position. So here we actually have essentially 40, because we have a rolling table, but each rolling table has 2 different sides. Oh, right. One is for background. No, this one. Wait, which one's which? Background and position in the court. Some things look like backgrounds. Some things look like for here, wealthy or traveler or low birth. Well, I mean, traveler could be position in court because you're not actually, if you're a traveler, you're not a defector. Okay. Maybe it's both. Huh. Interesting. I'm a little confused by this one. I mean, I guess basically what you could do is you could just roll a d20 and then pick one. Or decide which column you're going to roll in, roll it. Or maybe they really are, one is a thing and one is another. I don't know. It could be either way. Either way would make sense. Anyway, so you roll your background position. Presumably certain actions your background could help you. Or at the very least it flavors what your character can do. Every character gets 5 health points, it says here. Then you flesh out your character's personality, pronouns, and look however you like. Introduce to the other characters. Of course, over here we can roll a name. We can roll a rumor or a legend or a title associated with our character. So, for example, maybe we're the keeper of some sort of important item. Over here we get also two heirlooms. Or does this mean that we just roll twice to get an heirloom? So like I roll once on this table and it's a ruby, and then I roll here and I get a helm, so it's the ruby helm. Oh, no. I think it means 2 heirlooms and we just roll twice to create each heirloom. So that makes sense. Okay. It'd be nice. Actually, let me double check no, this PDF is the only thing we have to download. Okay. All right. Now let's hop over here to the other side. So once we have created our characters, which makes sense, we now need to decide where our allegiances lie. So it says, it's a flip of a coin whether within which warring kingdom you were born into. Let the table agree on the options below, or let the world master to decide. So we have an option. Basically all of our characters are either allied with or born in the same kingdom. Our characters are divided in between multiple kingdoms or regions, or each character represents and leads their own great kingdom, which that would be a very interesting. Maybe you all each were originally a part of the royal court, which were these things down here in the backgrounds, but now you're each leading your own faction. That would be pretty awesome. Then we roll 4 bonds, choose 2 for different PCs and 2 for NPCs. Basically, we have a D20 rolling table. It also says that we need to make a couple of NPCs that are now prominent in your character's life right now for any help in the world. So basically, for any help, the World Master can roll a quick NPC using on the species table, and then real quick on the symbol table and the background table. Symbol? Where's symbol? Oh, symbols and images are down here. Sorry, I missed that. So, Child of Autumn. See, this is one of the reasons why it sometimes is nice to do an initial reaction video, because now you're getting to see how I view these things. Okay. All right. All right. Oh, okay. Awesome. Oh, wait. No. Ooh, very interesting. So not only does this game have obviously pretty in-depth rules when it comes to creating your character and the background and everything else, with lovely rolling tables for that, and also making and forcing your character essentially to make connections to the outside world, which is really important for a political-based game. But here we have it actually has you make a simple map instead of having to rely on one that's already been pre-made. So it says you can make a simple map of a continent on any scrap paper. Dot at least 3 citadels into the landscape. These would be castles surrounded by a town or a city, or surrounded by scattered farmland. We also have a terrain rolling table here. Again, it's another D20. Arguably could be just a D10. But the system basically has you use D20s and D12s. So that's why they have you do that. Place some terrain, these terrains presumably, around and in between each of the kingdoms. For each citadel, let terrains near it inspire a name. Make something up or roll 2 symbols down below. Each is the seat of a kingdom and its own royal family. There are a number of different tools that I could also definitely recommend that would be really useful for creating a map. Here, of course, we have different places in a citadel. I see this as being potentially very useful for if you're not sure where the next scene is going to be. You could real quick just roll on this table and say, okay, our next scene is happening in the courtyard, right? Or we're going to have a meeting between these 2 characters, but we're not sure about where to do it. So we'll roll on the table and, aha, we're doing it in the library. You know, that kind of thing. You encounter X NPC in the dining hall. And now it's starting to sound like a game of Clue. We have descriptors and rumors about the Citadel. This could be quite interesting to kind of help flesh it out. Like maybe the original builder was obsessed with secret passages. Or ruthless. Okay, maybe this castle was originally owned by someone who has a reputation for being extremely ruthless, and so it has a massive dungeon. Or the dungeon is very well stocked with all kinds of and sundry nasties, stuff like that. Here it says reasons why everyone is on edge. So this could be a really good thing for plot hooks. So here we have, for example, look at this third one right here. It says a new citadel arises with a and then it says Bond background queen. So with a respectful background, a respectful lowborn queen. Peasants revolt. Haha. A citadel is a place inside of one of the citadels is raised by Oh, okay, that could be funny. So we have a citadel, so you would pick a citadel on the map, and then a citadel place, so you would probably use this rolling table, again, as I mentioned previously, so maybe the, the bed chambers, are raised by musicians. They literally burned the house down. Their performance was so good, they burned the house down. Okay. So as you can see from this game, there don't appear to be any sort of advancement rules. However, there don't seem to be any real advancement rules in this version of the game, which is, I think, kind of unfortunate because I think this style of story really lends itself potentially to campaigns. But on the other hand, I get the feeling that this game could be potentially very vicious, depending upon how you and the players and the world master kind of plays it. So I could definitely see this becoming, yes, a campaign, but one that you end up going through a number of different characters before the campaign's actually over. So the second game we're going to be taking a look at today is Be on Genesis, an invertebrate mech TTRPG. So this is actually my first game. Yes, so this is created by Frog Who Games. Let's take a look at their page real quick. Frog Who Games. Okay, there they go by Mars. Oh, they've already had a second game out. This was their first game, but they have a second game out called In Measure. We'll need to take a look at that at some point. Basically, as they mentioned, you play an insect or some other form of arthropod who pilots the discarded skeleton of a much larger arthropod, like a giant robot mech. And then for playing this game, all we need is at least 2 players, one being the GM and a couple of D6s. So here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at this game. I actually have it over here because I have it in my other monitor. Woo! There we go. Haha. Alrighty, so it says, "Welcome to the Hive." It is a futuristic bug city where all small invertebrate species from bees to worms live together in harmony, protected by the brave few that have taken up the molted carapace of one of a much larger arthropods that live outside and threaten the safety of the hive. You are one of these organic mech pilots trained to protect the city from any or all outside threats. Your motivations drive your actions, and your species and mech will give you the strength and wisdom you require. It is these unique assets that you and your team that, in the end, are the only thing that can save your city. Ooh. I already like this. Again, this is another game where we have stats, where our base stats are brawn, understanding, and guard. I'm guessing brawn is strength, understanding it could be social or intelligence or something along those lines, and guard is like defense. We'll see. Your mech gives you bonus points in some of these stats while you are piloting it. Ooh, very good. That is a really good way to do it. That is a really, really good way to do it. So basically, you have your base stats, and then your mech is basically an upgrade to it. So for example, over here, your character could be an ant. The ant has a brawn of 2, an understanding of 1, and a guard of 0. And then you pick up something. So let's say maybe you pilot a rhinoceros cockroach. So then you'll be adding +2 to your guard and then zeros to the other 2. When playing, you roll a 2d6 plus the appropriate stat, adding the mech bonus if you are currently piloting your exoskeleton. So you succeed if you roll a 10 or better. A full success if you roll a 10 or better. On a 7 to 9, that is basically a success with consequence, and then a 6 or less is a failure. So it says here just some examples on how to use these stats. We have brawn, of course, when we're attempting to damage something. Guard is used when protecting something, so not just yourself, but also others. And understanding is used when trying to gather more information. So understanding could be social or intelligence or wisdom or whatever you want to do that one. So again, to create your brave spineless mech pilots, you can either roll 1d6 on each of the 3 categories that primarily make up your character, or of course pick, or make something completely original. Basically, the impression I get is that your creature gets 3 stat points that can be distributed between any of them. So, for example, the worm just gets 1 in each. The roly-poly, I'm guessing that's the little sort of gray shield arthropod thing, gets 0 in brawn, 1 in understanding, and 2 in guard, stuff like that. Then, of course, you get your discarded exoskeleton that gives you an extra 2 points whenever you're piloting it into any of the 3 stats. And then your third table here is your primary theme or motivation. So basically, this is kind of just like fleshing out your character. And, of course, number 1 is the power of friendship. And then, of course, your GM also gets 3 D6 rolling tables to potentially flesh out a plot lines for one-shots or whatnot. Again, this is a game that does not seem to have any sort of character development in it. So, again, this is really intended for short games, one-shots, stuff like that, short campaigns. Or at the very least, games that are very casual, drop in, drop out, that kind of stuff. So, let's see. We have obvious threats. A number of which are, again, you're fighting against the creatures whose exoskeletons you currently pilot. Mutated bees from another civilization. Okay. Harvest men, a group of daddy long leg assassins. Awesome. That one sounds epic. A rogue pilot. Hungry toads. Okay. Or insurgents. Pretty standard. What are they doing? Kidnapping, laying siege, stealing resources, gaining resources, damaging mechs, causing panic. Number 6, dispersing pheromones as a form of mind control. Okay. And then the real villain of the story is actually one of the NPC's dads. The Queen of the Hive? There's no hidden baddie this time. It really is what it says. Jeff Bezos. Okay, that one I can embrace. Well, I'm sure you can think of. If you think of a good pun for Elon Musk as an insect, put it in the description down below. Or put it in the comments down below, and we'll see how far. Maybe that'll be a good sign to let us know how far into the video you got, because I've already been going on for quite a while. There are so many awesome games in here. I actually intended on going over Snakes and Wolves by Roxanne B as well, because this one looks very interesting. It's another one that's sort of one of these spy Metal Gear Solid type games. Yeah, so if you take a look at the description down below, there are 4 different. There should be a blog post from the Hastings County blog that describes 4 different other games that are also found in this bundle. So definitely check that out too if you're considering potentially grabbing the bundle. I definitely think it's a steal. I mean, you're already getting each of these games for like less than 30 cents each. So there is that. But also there's just the basic idea of that. There's so many other games that I wish I had time that I could potentially cover in a thing like this. But yeah, there's so many good games in here. I mean, La Bria is about dinosaurs at a dinner party. I mean, Lemurs on the Loose, you're trying to escape a zoo. Borg. So not all of these are games. There also are supplements to other games like Borg, which is an awesome supplement if you intend on having your furry best friend with you in a Morkborg game. We have All of Medusa. We Are Medusa's Snakes is a very interesting game where there's one player and everybody else is a GM, because basically one player is playing Medusa and all of the other players who are the GMs are the snakes. So that one's an interesting one. Crustacean Bus Station. I would definitely recommend you check out that one. That one's pretty awesome. And again, a completely unrelated game, again by from Sprinting Owl Games, is the Bus Station Crustacean, of course. No Nut November, which is about squirrels in the post-apocalypse. There's also a supplement in here that's also for No Nut November. We have Corte de las Camelidades, which is from Hippolyta, which is a supplement, if I remember correctly, for Covert Court from Gila RPGs, which really should have been in this bundle too, I think. That would have been an awesome one. As the Crow Flies is a card game. Awesome. Come Rain, Come Shine. Oh, I really need to make a video about that one. From Pinflower Inc. That one alone is honestly worth the $20, to be brutally honest. Yeah, so many of these games are awesome. Some of them, admittedly, are a bit on the sort of cheeky side. Other ones are definitely awesome. Oh yeah, the Bloody Barrows. I should have mentioned this earlier. The Bloody Barrows is also a supplement. This one's for Mosritter. So again, there you've got supplements, you've got games, you've got big games, you've got small games, you've got cheeky, fun one-shots, you've got long campaigns, all kinds of stuff. As I mentioned before, again, links will be found in the doobly-doo down below for both the bundle and the blog post that I made earlier describing a couple of these games. And again, you're buying a itch bundle. Don't forget to rate your itch purchases, please. If you would like to show your support for this channel or for the Hastings County blog, in the description down below, you will find links to the channel coffee and also the itch store. Please feel free to take a look, and thank you for your support.